Okay, so I have so many things I want to try and talk about. There's gonna be a lot to try and remember. Man, I've been on a baking frenzy. I made cinnamon rolls from scratch. I made some bread. I made some almond butter chocolate chip cookies. Um, I made some other some chocolate chip banana bread. Everything's gotta have chocolate, but there has not been anything coming out of me. So I'm not going to sit here and think all my cravings are parasites if I'm craving sugar, because none are coming out of me. And I keep doing these cleanses and stuff, but it's super, super. I mean, the stuff I keep seeing about it, it's like everything that is going wrong in people's bodies is parasites and chemicals and stuff. And it's so crazy too, is especially the people. I think you can go like to Parasite TikTok or Cleanse TikTok or something. You can learn so much. I don't know the exact hashtag, but you can probably just put in parasites. And then um, I've seen all sorts of charts and stuff where different ones affect your body, different ones. And that is one thing too. There's these little things called flukes. They don't even look like a worm. They look like a pine needle or a pine cone, like one of the little things out of it. And one little cones or whatever they're called. I don't even know. And it looks like those, but I don't see anything. I mean, I keep looking in the toilet like, I'll do a thorough inspection. What's in there? And I swear, I've done it so many times, looking and looking, expecting to see something, because I keep hearing so many people say all these horror stories, and I don't know. Apparently, even in any larvae or whatever on anything we eat, but it also, so while people have been looking this up and they have gone in and looked at the kid ones, the ones we're supposed to get right off the bat, they have that in it. It's called, they call it something, but it is a parasite and it's injected directly into people from the start. And, it just goes exactly when you understand this place, you know. And another thing that is just so great, like, there's a whole bunch of things, like, I could talk about, I swear to God. All these things that they like show me or tell me, then they just show me and tell me more and more and more. This one, so when I was talking about like the Arizona or the Alaska, when I was trying to look on the map, when I was trying to figure out where this store was that's being so shorted, because they're all going to be shorted. But of course, like I had said, there's going to be certain places that are all going to be getting worse effects. We're not all in the same exact scenario happening. And so the one with the, where they're $40 for a pound of bacon or whatever the hell. And I mean, the prices were ridiculous. The lady was showing, and she was in the store, like she was showing them in the store. And then Anne saying that just they're being shorted also, like there's a lot going on. And when I had looked on the map, and it was all those little islands, and it was right past Canada, this big landmass. And then you have all of these little islands. And so, in that is that. And those people, the person looked exactly like, they used to call them Eskimos. I don't even know, these stupid fucking labels and shit they come up with. But people who are more native to that area, they have a more of a distinct look. Like everybody who has certain areas, they have like a distinct look, but they also kind of have that look to me. Like if you went back further to like that Mongolian, I swear, I think that a lot of the races or something come from this beginning Mongolia and Tartaria, for like what we have going on here. Like, I don't know, throughout all the different ages. I think primarily, I'm trying to get to the sole point, but I think primarily most people are some sort of skin tone, and that there's something up with the white people is what I keep on. So anyways, then so how they all kind of, have a similar, I don't know what it is. And I think when my daughter was doing archaeology, she was talking about, there's the Neanderthals, and then there's this other, like there was a split in where the different DNA structures come from. Well, there's more manipulation than that we know for sure. But like there was these two, and how they had traced it back or something, where they had, determined this, ape creature somehow miraculously turned into another creature that became a living, working being that, it's just absurd. But anyways, so, it is absurd without the assistance of what they did. Like they manipulated it. It was what they've been doing. It's what they're still doing. It's what they're doing in the tunnels. It's what they've been doing. Like they've been doing it for a long fucking time. And so then they have, so most of the people are all like this, like tribe people. No matter like where you go, all these like different islanders and stuff, they have a certain way that they all look like, you can see some sort of tribe characteristic or something, I don't know. And so then I saw this morning they're doing the same thing in Hawaii. And then how I said, I'd seen the indigenous people trying to stand up to the prime minister, but I've also seen some other stuff. But the one I had just seen, where then when they, for the audience, it looked like, oh, see, they got to say what they want, and they had to leave. But outside, out behind the audience's back, they're surrounded by cops. So in this Hawaii one, this person was saying the indigenous people of Hawaii are done with the whole thing. Like they turned it into this tourism, which a lot of Hawaiians can't even afford to live in Hawaii. I've done this all over the place. They go in and they just push people out of their places. That's why these people sitting here thinking like, oh, my house is going to be worth so much, we'll just do that. It's like, you guys don't understand what's happening. And so so in Hawaii, the people, the natural people, the native to the Hawaiian Islands, they are going up against the government. They are protesting and stuff. And they are being shorted on resources as well. And because of the whole thing with the islands, see, then they were like, well, we can't send y'all so much stuff. And so then the stores are marking way up, like, you better really need it if you're going to get it, because there's shortages. And this price, acceleration or increases, where people can't afford it. People are losing their jobs. It's all going together like that. And so all of those people are going against the government. So you have all these different people. But the thing that stands out to me is all these different islands. Do we ever go to any islands of any fucking indigenous people and it's a white tribe? I really would like to see it. If there's some white tribe out there somewhere, somebody please tell me. Because I don't think there is. I think that we are an absolute science experiment. Like we are totally, when darker people talk about like they're trying to get rid of them and put, it's like the little white dolls, let's move them forward. And there's a reason. Because I think that I think it has to do with the melanin. I think there's a whole bunch of stuff that is going to, if we get to find out all this stuff. But I think it would have something to do with melanin and DNA and DNA structure, like whatever they're doing. But when you keep hearing all these different indigenous people and these tribes and all those people, they keep going up against the government and they all look alike and none of us look like them. It's like, okay, so what's that? And then even when you go to like the Jewish people, like, what the hell are they? What the hell are they? They look like they're white, but then they're Middle Eastern. But it is like, I don't know. There even starts being because of the stuff about the Jewish people. And then, you know, I don't know, because it's all a part of that whole thing that went on in Germany. And there was a whole thing that I had heard from some conspiracy, like certain things, they don't get any movement. Like right now I'm losing followers like it's mental. Every day I lose followers. And of all these people, but 80 people saw my video. It's mental. Whatever that guy was talking about, it's like exactly like what I said. I can't even remember what the words he used. Something like inactivated, closeted account. Something. Basically, that's what they do. That's what I kept feeling that they were doing. It's like they just put you in the back, and then every other video in the whole world goes ahead of yours, and you are just sitting back there in the dark, speaking to a couple people that, and that's why I'm like, man, anybody who's been listening to me, there's a reason. And I'm wondering too, I was just thinking about this morning, Vortex, is how consistent, because you've been listening to me the longest and you've listened to me the most consistent. So, how consistent has my messaging been? That's a little truth I'd like to know. Have I been consistent in my messaging from the beginning? Because I feel like I have. But, it's weird because of how we perceive. And then watching all of these different stuff play out and seeing how people's perceptions are interfered with, and that, they don't recognize it. Let me think if I had finished everything about, but there's something, I swear to God, because even when you think about, so if you go like, well, there's like white people, Finland, think about Sweden, these Norwegian people, where'd they come from? The Vikings. Well, how the hell do we know what the Vikings look like? They could have very well been very dark. And I don't know, when it goes back to like the Scottish. See, like there's so many things that we'd have to put together on the time things, because the Irish and the Scottish, so that would be an island that would have white people. So would that, and let me think if there would be some other ones. But I know, like over in the Finland and Scotland and Sweden, so because what I've understood about Sweden is it's some sort of beta test center. So it's very much like we think that they go and do it in China first and then they do it here. No, they start everything there. The weird stuff that they put those people through is weird, and they do so many things where they think they're so progressive and stuff. It's all, a scam. And Switzerland, that's the whole thing too. Like that was set up for the cabal too, so that it's all stuff that they set up. So those places are very, very contained and controlled, where all these white people are. The only thing it would be like Scotland and Ireland. And because I don't know. Did they go and get, well, Australian people, but those people were all brought from somewhere else. So was it the same thing? Did they just take a bunch of their, their hybrids and dump them out on an island and see what happened? Because there's some way that they got white people in different places. But when you go and you see these indigenous people from all over, they all look alike. And I've heard so much about when, the other land masses outside of the ice wall, the space that we believe is out there, that those, that most all aliens, most all avatars that are everywhere are all darker. They're all, most all beings have kind of some sort of more ethnic looking or something. But then you also have like the animal looking ones, the insect looking ones, the ones that just look like, blobs, like You have all different kinds of ones, but as humanoids go, that mostly that they're all darker. That there's not very many white ones, but you have the whites, and the Palladians are supposed to be pretty white. I think the Syrians, I heard that they're kind of bluish, and I think with the andromeda, whatever they're called. See, that's the thing. Even when I start listening to these different islanders and talking about their rights and what's going on in their communities, then I swear to God, I feel like that it is outside the ice wall. Like, I don't know how I can explain this, but it's like outside the ice wall is the same thing as inside the ice wall. Inside the ice wall is these people who have become contained, because even like the Middle Easterns, they all have their own lives and lifestyles and stuff like that. And then we're, this colonizer thing that is constantly being talked about now. I'm just seeing it more of like the colonizers were the scientists and, the people who have been, messing with the DNA, moving pieces around and watching how things play out and stuff. Like there's so much more to this experiment. Like I don't feel like I'm crazy. I swear to God, I feel like the white people that are here, that we are totally some sort of manufactured thing. Because even if it were that we have white people in Scotland and Ireland, where the hell do they come from? How do they look the way they look? Instead of looking the other way. Well, if it's from either the Neanderthals or the other, whatever, Homo sapiens sapiens, like, I don't even know, because of so much how science is manipulated, but just of my own observation of how things are here, and then knowing what's on the other side of the ice wall, and then thinking about like these space invaders who are always coming to try and take over areas. And then it goes so far back with some of these people, to this area. And since time isn't even linear, like it's hard to even know how long that they've had control over this reality and how long it's been going, and how long they've been, messing with the DNA. Because even at the changing of ages, that was the whole thing when Noah had all the DNA on the boat or something. It's always been that they keep their experiment going. So there is an evolution to mankind, but it is not a natural evolution. It is a controlled evolution by scientists. And so I think that somehow whatever they were doing, and then they put them out there, and then they start herding them into other communities and stuff, and start creating a lot of division with that too. Because even when the immigration started in America, like the Italians and the Jews and the Irish, like they would all fight. They all had like gangs and stuff. And people weren't getting along. They didn't all come together, and people did stay more divided into their own culture. And, I feel like the space invasion was already done to the area, and they already had come in and started with their colonization and then their manipulation. And then they've done a lot of stuff, because I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I don't know. There's something weird about it. Because all these different people on all these different islands, they're having these issues with the government and their rights, and the colonization of coming in and taking over, and then telling them they're in control, and putting them in schools, they're in control of their food and all this shit. All these people all kind of look alike. So just with the dark hair, dark skin, and they just have more bolder kind of features, you know what I mean? They're just kind of bolder looking. I don't know. They just have a more distinct. But there's so many. Like, I swear, it's like a mix, like a mashup because of like so many of these different tribes. Like there's always been a thing about where people talk about like people with China, from China or North Korea or whatever, something with their eyes. Even when we were little kids, we'd be like, oh, when we do our eyes like that, and we would pretend like we were Chinese or something. But then when you look at some of these different tribes, so many of them have the same fucking eyes. It's not just those people. So how? Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm stuck on something that's just really strange or something, but it's weird how this stuff just keeps coming to me and showing me this. Also with the sky thing, so there's so much phenomena going on up in the sky, and people keep doing different footage. Like I guess over someplace there was some big giant purple thing up in the sky, and this guy, when he was showing it, he goes, "I'm serious. This is real. This isn't one of these apps or one of these filters." So I think that they put filters out on purpose just to keep the confusion as this stuff is being unveiled in the sky. But this guy was saying, the stuff is getting so crazy in the sky and it's going to keep going. He said, you're going to know because it's building up to this big thing. And he said, you're going to know because then we're going to see the plasma. And what he was also saying, this guy is like deep in this stuff. He's not like me. Like there's all these people. I'm like the hummingbird who goes out to the different feeders. I go out and listen. It's like go into a class and listen to people's teachings, look up, try and understand what they're talking about and stuff like that, and go. And I really believe we need all these energies to keep everything going. Like there has to be people like me who go out and listen, because the people who get in those groups, you have to go to them. They're not going out and spreading all their stuff. You have to come to them to listen to their stuff. You have to go out and look for, flat earth people, and then you go and you find them and they'll explain the shit out of it. They'll show you every fucking experiment, everything. But they all stay in that group. So you want to know about it, you got to go there. They're not going out and trying to, there is some that are talking, like every single group, but that's what I'm saying. Like every group has somebody who has this speaking out. Like I've just been noticing so much how this all works together. Like how certain people are talking about this, and it all just works together, and how it is like we form a web, like a spider web, a natural kind of web of information that crosses out. That's why they're trying to use those kinds of things like web. They're trying to create a grid. A grid kind of is a simulation of a web. So they're trying to create a grid in the same way that we create a web. But our energy goes out, and see, that's what they're doing with the grid, with their energy, trying to do that. And you know what's fucking mental? This is so mental. I don't even know this whole guy's story either, because he's showing this video of his 45 acres he just got, like, oh, look at this, I'm out here, and he's got all his own land and stuff now, and, whatever his plan is, I don't know. But what he was showing was, and how cool it is now, because he's having Ziply come out. They're going to lay all this fiber optics throughout his whole thing. So he has this great, they're going to put in, they're doing all of this stuff. He's just bringing all of it to his place. It's like, oh my God. I swear to God, like when you're waking up, getting stuck. I don't even know if this guy's awake at all. I don't know what his purpose was of going and buying this or anything. But anybody who's awake, you would not be going out and giving 45 acres and then saying, hey, come on out here and put in your electricity, put in your fiber. No, fuck. It's mental. I was just like, oh my God, some of the shit that I hear people talk about, it's like, what in the hell? So, I gotta get back to where I was saying something a second ago. There's so many things, like it feels like my head is gonna burst off. There's just like so much. And it is so chaotic. The energy feels so chaotic in the people. And as people are realizing things, like the stories I hear nonstop with Walmart, I do not understand. What does it take for you people to boycott Walmart? How much outrage can go associated with one place? Like, that is the absurdity. Like, it just keeps going and going and going. And these people have these absurd things, but people just keep going back in, and think about this too, is all of these things that have affected all of these darker people. Because when you're thinking about how this all works, like all these things, because the stuff they've been doing has been being done, but once it starts affecting a white person, then it starts making some sort of change. Then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, wait a minute, don't be messing with me. I don't know what it is. It's weird, but another thing just popped into my head when I was talking about that I wanted to talk about. Uh, man, it'll come back. But anyways, so that was another thing that seemed weird to me. Like, so it's got to go through all these people, which to me, gosh, this whole thing is so Westworld. I had seen this where they were talking about the CIA, how the CIA categorizes this. So I don't know if this is where people are getting this NPC thing, because the NPC is going around all the time. People are always talking about the NPC, where they used to say sheep and sheeple, now it's NPCs. And so the CIA said, and they have a chart. So they say 20 to 30% of the people are in NPCs. Then he said 20 or 30% of the people on the other side are awake. Then you have this bit in the middle of the pie. They say it's like 60 to 80%. And those are the people who are just, they're not sure. They're just, they're the ones, like I'm always talking about, they're just focused on their life. They're not looking at the media. They're just focused on what they like to do, spending time with their people and stuff. And then, but how the CIA says that things are determined is because they go for the middle people. And it's whichever group is screaming the loudest. So in 2020, they turned us off. All of a sudden, we became a bunch of crazy people. And nobody would listen to us. And so then the other ones took over their minds. And then that is why they are, so make no sense. Like, they're just not, they don't make any sense. And so, but, it's going to go. They're going to be more woke up. But see, this 20 or 30%, this is the group of people where is like, are they just going to stay asleep? Are they just really put there just to be players in the game to get us to do that? But the CIA is labeling them a certain way. And CIA is all about consciousness and stuff. They've been studying all this stuff. So they know, to me, how they can control certain people. And so those NPC people. So the Walmart thing, this lady, and there's so many of these fucking stories. But this lady, she went to Walmart. So there's no cashiers anymore. All Walmart employees apparently stand around and talk. They don't work anymore. They just stand around and talk. And so this lady was waiting to get in, or she was paying. You have to go to the other thing. And they'll have their talk groups near there too. So they'll watch you work. You come to the grocery store, they'll watch you work while they're getting paid. So this lady's sitting there doing her stuff. And this older woman, she said it was like 80 years old, came up and she didn't know how to do the thing. And there was nobody helping her. So this woman starts trying to help her. And then she rang something up twice. So she needed one of those people to come over and take it off. And the one that came over, she told her this woman was having problems and stuff. And the girl just goes, oh, okay, and swipes it and then walks back to the group. And so this other, not an employee, sits there and does this whole woman's order and helps her. And she was so mad and so upset because she said, how many people are going in, older people who don't know how to do it, or any people who don't know how to do it, and then there's nobody helping them. And see how it just causes more frustration and more stress. But that is how the system is set up to do that. And the people like these people who play along. And I keep seeing so many of these kinds of things where you can really see this separation, and they always show me so much deeper into it. But so those people are like that same kind of group of people. Like they've got a lack of compassion, lack of empathy. They're just cut off from whatever's going on with other people. They're focused on their drama and their own shit that they have going on, that they want to talk about. She said they were talking about, going out and getting tattoos and just stupid shallow shit. And so, but that, and they're getting paid whatever, $15 an hour to stand there and do that, not help any of the people. And then there's so much going on, in Walmart. Oh my God, people are being followed. There's crazy stuff is going on in there. And there's going to be probably more huge crises. There'll probably be some fucking shootout or something. There'll be something because it's so wacky and people just keep going. It's like, oh my God, what in the hell? It's so weird. And these people have these bad stories. They can just go right back. Just go on right back. And so these people who are like that, and the ones that are still like trying to screw people over and that are just, is a low vibration. It's a low frequency. They aren't whatever, a lot of things it could not be. Definitely I would say they're not healed, or you wouldn't be in such a low vibration unless they're just there to play that part, to create the outrage, to create the change, then they're doing a good thing on a soul level. But on this whole spectrum that we're in right now, where, they are just blind and then leading people the wrong way. Let's see, when the thing flips, those people are going to be shown the truth. As far as I'm concerned, those of us who are awake, there's a lot of truth that a lot of people haven't seen yet, but their minds are already open. It's going to be a lot easier to be sliding some of that stuff in. They've already started processing. If they've started awakening to anything, they've already started the process. They have shifted something inside of them. But the people who aren't at all, then that's why I said it's going to be like the rude awakening, because it's going to be so unexpected and it's going to be so humiliating. And it's going to be too hard for a lot of them. I just couldn't even believe yesterday when I went out, or whatever day that was. And everybody's just right back with it on. It's like, oh my God, are you fucking kidding me? Oh my God, I couldn't even believe it. And I've seen videos where the people are losing their fucking minds again, attacking people. And it is something, something with the frequency. It's something with the chemicals. Like, it's all, there's a reason why these people are losing control of themselves, or they're lost, they're being controlled. Like, I don't know. But not everybody has full control of their faculties. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people who I think are just doing stuff and don't even know why they're doing it. But how many times in your life have you been doing something and been like, why am I even doing this? Like, what am I doing here? What am I doing? Why am I doing this right now? Like, question yourself. Like, there's plenty of, we've all gone around just doing something and then been like, confused when we realized it. So, there can be that, but this whole thing with the zombie threat and stuff like that. So, I think that's something with the chemicals, and that, they've been putting those parasites in us for a long time. And so it's no shock that now they're putting in smart ones that can go inside of you and find each other and build a bigger, stronger, like, what is that fucking show? I think I had Robert Downey Jr. I don't know if it's called Thor or something, but anyways, like, put together and make these super parasites inside of you. Like, it's very freaky. When I was looking those things up, I was like, oh my God, maybe I want to do another one, because the things that they get inside your joints, inside your muscles, inside your organs, they're inside your blood, they can get inside your brain, they get inside your eyes, they get inside your lungs, They're all over inside of people. You know, and that is one thing where people are being more outraged now. Like, why haven't they been telling us, like, that we need to do these cleanses? Why don't doctors tell? And now this is some crazy shit too, because now there's doctors who are seeing they're trapped. They're trapped. They put it in. They're trying to make the doctors the fall guys on this. It's something with the wording, so they made it to where if the doctors didn't give informed consent, it falls back on them. That's what they're trying to pull. So the doctors are going to have to come together, you know. And a lot of doctors love it. See it, you know. There's all been this licensing. They use licensing and taxing. All that stuff is held over us, and so you know all these doctors now are, you know, but there's going to be trials and stuff, you know, and the people who are doing them have awareness of, you know, what's really going on. A lot of those people are already going down. I'm sure that there's some people from some of those companies that are already gone, you know, because there's just too much paperwork coming out of all the bad stuff that they have all known, and they kept doing it. So, you know, for that stuff to be coming out, that is showing that they already know that. That stuff is already known. All this stuff keeps more and more and more coming out all the time. And what was that? There's so much stuff, like Hollywood stuff, like now where it's getting, where more people are starting to understand, because then Nicole she was the big Jenga piece to pull that down, because now people are like, oh, and Meryl Streep, because when they go and they start looking up about this person, and they go in and start looking what boards they're on, where they put their money, where they donate and stuff like that, and then you start seeing like certain people on certain ones, then you look and see what does that company do, and so people are putting it all together. And so, you know, there's no people are smart about how they look stuff up. And, you know, like I said, I'm one of those people, I'm going around and listening to see what everybody is talking about and what they're finding out and what they're looking into. And there is, there's a bunch of things that just popped into my head at once. I'm telling you, it is really, it is very chaotic. I saw a guy, this guy said the 8th that the dollar that was the last day of the dollar, was the 8th. And but you know, we still have some money out or whatever. But so when I went in to listen to his video, and he said that on the 8th that China and Saudi Arabia got together and made some sort of deal. And I think it's something with petroleum, but it leaves us out, makes our money worthless. It's all in how they do stuff, you know, with the money. And so it does something to ours that makes ours worthless or whatever. And to me, you know, I know when Trump was like all the way back to the Charlie Freak stuff, when he was doing that breakdown of Trump going to those places, and when he went to Saudi Arabia and did that sword dance and stuff, that was an acceptance. That wasn't they started working together. So there's some prince or something that was working with him to take down, you know, because it all has to do with traffic and all of that stuff. And it's involved all around the place. And so any of the people, like in Charlie Freak's thing, when he showed like the NSA, when Trump went on that tour, he had all these stacks of files from them and took them and showed all the evidence and said, you get 2 choices here. And I don't even know, like, I think some of the people were so bad they didn't get any choice. But some people, you know, they got choices. And so they chose to help take down this one. So there was always going to be these pushing from the back door. Like they're coming in because they're coming at us from that direction because they're trying to push Joe into showing his hands. Like, and all his cards are just like flying up in the air. Like he's got investigations and all sorts of stuff going on. And I think some psychic is saying he's going to be dead sometime in the next few months. He's going to suddenly have some sort of thing that's going to happen. He's going to keel over. But their whole thing about him was just to destroy Joe's legacy and then to bring forward the truth. And just, so just like with Nicole being involved with the Bellagio, whatever it's called, then that all the people, see, it is like a web. It's like a spider web. It's a trap for all of them because they're all connected. And so their connection is everywhere and there's no getting away from it. And so, they're going to continue to be exposed through their connections with each other in these dark, totally dark practices. I saw this fucking old house that, I don't know, I think it was like back in the 40s or something. It looks like Bohemian Grove or something. It was a place where they would go and do all of the same kind of stuff. Like these people have been doing this stuff for a long ass time. The consumption of, so sickening. It goes all the way back in tribes of, taking energy. I just, God, that grosses me out. I can't even, so gross to me. I don't know if I finished saying what I was going to say. It keeps being like, keeps going like into like this black. Like I can just see black. But then there's so much stuff. But it's hard to get it to be like, where I can see it really clearly. So, what was I even talking about? Man, I swear my sleep thing is just so weird. But I've seen so many people talking about everybody's getting woke up at 1:30, 2:30, 3 o'clock. Like, I don't know what's going on, but it's not just me. Lots of people are talking about it. But let's see. So what am I talking about? The food. Oh yeah. So the money thing. So, they already had that, because this is the thing, because he makes these deadlines and then I think that they don't do the stuff. Like it is some sort of game, and the one side, they have nothing, they've got nothing. And so they are trying to just prolong the game. But then, so you have these other sides now pushing in. You're going to have to show the truth because you got Putin, you got like all these leaders, all these world leaders now are pushing in on us to expose the truth about a lot of different things. So it is explosive. So where this guy was all upset, like, oh my gosh, you guys need to understand the dollar is worthless, and going through trying to explain it to me, it's like, hell yeah. Been waiting for this damn day, I'll tell you that. I want the dollar to become worthless. It's a fucking bullshit thing to begin with. And whatever, it's going to be a whole thing though. Because you got these people thinking like, no, yay, Zipley's got a good deal going on. I get something from Zipley every day. They're driving down our street all the time now. It's like, no, thanks. It's like, this is some bullshit. This is some absolute bullshit. And, what was that? It was something with, Canada, I think, again. Man, there's a lot going on there, too. God damn. That, the medical and stuff is just, man. Yeah, it's so weird how they just try and push people, especially people down on their luck. No compassion, no empathy. But that is that same thing as in that Anunnaki book where it said the people that won't go in the harvest. The whole thing is I just don't know if this is that harvest time, or if these people all get this other opportunity to wake up. Because whatever's going to happen, it's going to, mostly obviously affect the 60 to 80% of people who are, the ones that don't know which way to go. So when the truth starts coming out, they're going to, be they'll probably be less outraged. I don't know. The ones that are the NPCs, they would be the most outraged because they're the most cut off from everything. But the people who are just, living their lives, they're going to have to be forced with the truth, and they're going to have to deal with it. And so they're going to all have to go through their own stuff. But I would think that I've thought the whole time, most of the people who are awake are going to wake up and have to, the hard part will be when they wake up and have to start trying to heal. It's going to be really hard stuff, especially for the people who have been asleep this whole time. Like, it's going to be hard to face your ego when you've been so fooled, and you're going to feel so humiliated and embarrassed, because that's what the ego does. The ego is going to go out with a bang. This is going to, they're going to really have to get control over their emotions and, humbling themselves. And you just don't see a lot of people who have that ability to humble themselves. Most people are very ego-driven, angry, injured, or defensive. And it's so crazy too. It's like the stuff that they bring me to see right now too just shows so clearly. Oh my God, the stuff that I can see. Like, I started watching Urban Cowboy last night, and I was like, oh my God, the dysfunctional. Like, that was supposed to be some super romantic story, remember? Like, oh my God, the Urban Cowboy is so romantic. It's so fucking full of abuse. Jesus Christ. I cannot believe Deborah Winger's just getting smacked down all the time. Everybody's smacking her, and oh my God, and she's constantly just, just selling herself as just a nothing worthless. Like, oh my God. I was like, oh, I can't even imagine. I like go back and watch all these different ones. Go watch The Officer and The Gentleman. Probably the same thing. Just, just such abusive behavior. And this is the big love story. This is what we were all like looking for back then. I was like, oh my God, it's so, So, I bet they totally, I can see through so many of the different things of people's relationships and what it is, like what they're trying to get or something. And I don't know, it's weird. I don't even know. Is it just weird how this progresses as I would imagine it's going to happen for everybody, not just me, but your connection, as your connection becomes more open, you are more open to everything. Like, there's so much, and you just see so clearly things. It's just shown to you. You just see it. Oh, and it's been so busy, back there. And I don't know why. Well, I'm not going to say they don't come up here, because, yeah, they do hang out right there. It just seems like right here. Like, I don't know why, but they're always. But so, and Stella gets so weirded out. But yesterday she gets she's been super playful lately. She wanted to play with her ball, and I threw it down the hall, and she just sat there. She wouldn't go get it. This morning I just saw it when I was getting dressed, and it was still sitting there. I was like, oh, huh. Wonder if that's why. It's because all the commotion down here. It doesn't feel like evil or toxic or anything. It just feels crowded. It literally feels crowded. And then when I was just down there, getting ready to do this, or a light flashed in my room, and then so I was like, usually I don't, communicate. I'm much more, just tell them to get out if you're not here for the good of me, and then otherwise ignore them. But that one that flashed, then I was like, well, so if somebody wants to talk, then don't sit here and play games. Come sit down on the couch. Show yourself. Like, show yourself if you want to communicate. But there is all these people who are having all sorts of stuff going on where people are having, I don't know, they call them different things. I don't know, light beings, aliens, all different things where they are communicating with some people. So, and I don't know, like I could sit here and go like, oh, I'm so upset. Why aren't they with me? But, you just don't really know, like that person. It could be their family trying to communicate, and maybe they're preparing them to go back with them or anything like, or they are, it's already set up that they are to bring forth this information. And so that is their role that they're playing, so that they're going to go through that, so, but there's a lot of stuff. I mean, the stuff up in the sky. So anyways, in that, the guy who talks about the energy thing, he was talking about all this old prophecy and stuff. And in the prophecy, it said that before this big change happens, the end of this time and stuff like that, we'd be seeing all sorts of stuff in the sky. And he said, there's all this stuff up in the sky, it's not going away. It's going to keep building until this big thing happens. And he said that he called it Plasma Man. Until we see Plasma Man, then we'll know. So I went and I looked up what's Plasma Man, but, I didn't see anything on there. Sometimes you have to be in those groups, because Google hides information from us. They don't, like, I can't even tell you how many things where people are like, go Google this, and I'll go look, and it's nowhere. Like, and I don't know, maybe my whole phone is just totally manipulating me, keeping my stuff back and not letting me see information. Even this one guy was telling everybody to go watch his video because he's going to talk about this certain thing. So I went on and I was looking for his video everywhere. Couldn't find it. And he had he's on YouTube, and he had he had two names for sure. And then it seemed like a third that I looked, but, oh yeah, because I used his copy. I copy and pasted his link. That didn't work. I searched his name. That didn't work. I searched his other name. That didn't work. But when I was doing that, I was pulling up my own videos. Like, how the hell did that work? Because my name is nothing about his name. So, I don't know. This whole thing is the whole thing is just so exhausting. Man, there was, well, I know that there was some more stuff I was going to talk about, so I probably will just have to come back. It really is so much to try and keep organized in my thoughts, especially when I go on to TikTok and it is so chaotic. Like, you've got people who are freaking out, people who are just waking up and trying to tell people who are trying to spread the word on certain things. It's super chaotic. And then mixed in with that, get these commercials and just stupid stuff. Like, I don't know. The whole thing, it's all falling apart. Every single thing is falling apart. Like, there's no, you can't hold it together. And it's going to continue until it's all gone. But so I think, to me, it still seems like there's going to be this opportunity to wake up. That whatever is going to happen in the next couple of weeks is going to have something to do with the money situation. Is that now? I mean, that's been being pushed for so long. Like, there has to be some end to it. There has to be a point where, and there's already stuff about the Federal Reserve. There's all sorts of stuff coming out. So, it's going to have to go at some point. And I think it's going to be now because of all these lines that have been drawn now with this, them saying that they're, dropping off America in these deals or something, and whatever, however it all is. So, and then Joe saying we were going on this digital currency. So there's some sort of deadline where it has to go down. And then and Trump sitting there saying that he's going to be back, or he's going to show the truth or whatever. So that stuff, along with that, then all this other stuff coming out, like, that's what I think is going to be that. There's going to continue to be disasters. There's going to continue to be storms, but it's going to be that. I just don't think that big sky thing, I think like what that guy said, we're going to keep seeing this stuff over and over until the sky event happens. Like, we're leading up to that. That is going to happen. Something's going to happen. I just don't think that's what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. I think that is more towards 2027 when that all goes down. So that again goes back to these people, because even if you know somebody in your life who's just a total dick and you love them, but this part of them is really coming up to the surface and you're just seeing them as like, oh my God, what a fucking dick this person is. They've got to purge that out. They got to see. But there's every opportunity still, I think, for them to wake up and see the truth. And you got to keep remembering there's nothing you can do. You cannot wake them up. All it does is push them further in the dark. You've got to just sit back and allow them to wake themselves up and see the truth for themselves. And, it's hard when people are showing their true colors, and their true colors are dark and they're nasty and they're hateful. And, you gotta let them see the repercussions of that energy, and repercussions of, the beast inside that you're feeding, And that's funny too, because micro, macro, and parasites, and really the beast inside of each person. You choose what you feed, the light or the dark. And so many people feed the dark, but they don't realize, because even victim mentality is dark. You're feeding the dark. If you're the victim and poor you, you're feeding the dark. That's not feeding the light. Feeding the light is love and empowerment, forgiveness. It's a movement of, it's not a stagnation. So all of the stagnation energy is of the dark. The movement energy, that is of the light. And so, if you get what I'm saying. But anyways, so the people who have that shallow, no compassion, no caring, just laughing at people and just hateful bullies and all that stuff. Like, some of this stuff that people go and bully people and say to people is like shocking. Like, you would expect that to come out of like a 4-year-old's mouth or something, not a grown-ass adult who has any sort. Most adults, haven't you ever had somebody say something mean to you? Don't you know how bad it hurts? So why would you go spread that energy? And, it's like, what in the hell? But they say things that are just so hateful. But that's for people have to see. They have to see themselves in order to really change. And so, everybody's getting this opportunity, and most people don't want to see themselves. But, it's going to turn when this stuff happens, this money stuff. And it's going to be the energy. It's going to be that 60 to 80% of the people when they see the truth, which would be fantastic for them to come in that way, from that direction, and see, that the orange guy was really trying to free us and change the money thing to help us and go back on the gold standard, all that stuff. And so when that happens to me, see, that would be a lot better, even though they're going to have, some outrage from some people, but that's for those people to figure out. I think most of the people is going to be about the anger. Most people are going to be, the anger is going to be about loss, about what people have lost, people they've lost and stuff. So I think that's where the violence and anger is going to mostly come from. But if we got that, that just seems like a nice thing to happen. But so excuse me, God, drama. When the thing happens, though, that is when the energy is like, the people waking up is going to flip that energy. And is the pole shift. That's the energy shift. And that, to me, is going to ripple effect out into the cosmos, which causes the rest of it to crash. Like right now, the energy of us all waking up is why I think everything is seeming so crazy. Yesterday when the wood guy came, he came. He texted me in the morning and he said that he was coming. I was like, oh, I didn't know you were. So that was cool. So he brought the wood and we're unloading it, and I don't know what it was. It was about the weather or whatever, that, the conversation. It was awkward for sure. But this is the thing that is so, where people have got to get over their shit. Because, so he was saying something about the sun and the moon. And then he's like, yeah, well, I'm up real early. I'm out there in the forest early. And I've been looking up and I've been seeing some stuff. I tell you, I'm seeing some stuff. I was like, okay, come on. And I'm like, yeah, there's some weird shit going on, and I, of course, this is a simulation. He's like, what? Sure he thinks I'm completely a whack, but whatever. You'll see soon. And I said, yeah, there's some weird stuff going on with the sun and the moon. They don't seem to be in the right places. Things don't seem to be lining up anymore. This weird weather. And so I said a few things, and then he didn't. It's like, come on, dude. I'm not going to sit there and say you're crazy. Just tell me what you're seeing. And you're seeing some spaceships. I know the moon is doing a whole little circus up there. You got the crescent, and then all of a sudden it flips and it's on the other side, and then it's like doing all sorts of shit. The moon being up there and then disappearing, the sun, like all that stuff. But he wasn't divulging any further past, yeah, I've seen some weird stuff. So I don't know how weird, but that's the thing that holds people back. You can't be held back by thinking that you're crazy. Like, just say what you're seeing. More people have to talk about what you're seeing. You're not crazy. And this is, oh my God, you are so dramatic. Just a second. I guess time's up. She's like, no, I'm not. Man, she is so bossy. So anyways, hopefully I finished up some of the stuff I was saying, but maybe I'll be back because it's super early and I got nothing else to do. But anyways, if you are seeing weird stuff, don't be embarrassed to talk about it. Don't hold yourself back. That is we all have to start talking about this stuff and noticing the truth. And, I think that is when this happens, this thing, and the money starts changing, people start getting mad, and that energy goes out, that is the energy that's going to do the whole sky phenomena or whatever. Like, it's all works together, but I don't think it all happens at the same time. But, that's for us to watch and see. But I really am expecting, over the next couple of weeks, some shit to start going down, start switching to go the other direction. So, we'll see. I feel like in my own life, I definitely feel like there is a change in the air or something, like all of a sudden Stella jumping up and running around and playing and stuff. And, I don't know. Things seem to be so in sync to me, like how things are going, like everything is just syncing up. Like I don't feel, the only time I feel the chaos is when I go in and listen to what other people are talking about, because I don't feel chaos at all here. I feel like today I'm going to go out and move the wood, and as I got some of them moved yesterday, but I have some more I'll move today. But Stella loves to go outside, and it's supposed to be kind of nice. It's weird because it was kind of cloudy today, but it has a higher temperature. But then this week is supposed to go all sunny and then a higher temperature. But then I saw last night, then they switched another one and made it cloudy. So whatever, they're still messing with the weather, trying to do something. I don't know what they're doing. They're hitting so hard in some places. There's supposed to be this week is going to be blizzards, all sorts of storms that are coming, and they just barely miss where I'm at. And so they're going to start somewhere over further. And so, I don't know what they have in store for us. Like, Maybe a tsunami or something. I don't know. I'll be so glad once this shit goes down and we start going in the other direction. But anyway, so, I'm not doing anything today, seriously. So I would probably, if there's some more stuff that I can think of that I didn't talk about or whatever, because there really was so much stuff. There was just like, oh my gosh, so many different things I want to talk about. So anyways, maybe I'll be back in a bit. Talk to you later. Bye.